War Department preparing for action in Nigeria. Tinubu to meet Trump over alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria, says presidency. PDP, NNPP, CUPP accused Tinubu of forcing defections. Serap sues Senate President. Speaker over 3 million bribe for bills claim. EU, France, Nigeria signed 10.2 million euros deal to boost local medicine production. Cross River partner World Bank on training of teachers. Now fund hits 1 million student loan applications. Shore slams Trump's Nigeria threat, says U.S. intervention causes instability. And then we have the Guardian Weekend Report. Family seeks federal government intervention after son allegedly dies in Thailand job scam camp. 6 killed in Plateau as Berom community reports renewed attack. We have Amnesty urges journalists to act against rising human rights abuse. Nigeria to prosecute 30 suspects, 7 still at large in alleged coup plot. We have Army crushes terror cells, rescue 17 kidnapped victim, nabs 20 suspects. Defections to APC driven by fear of losing 2027 election, says Onwoha. State creation, doubt, location, name may push back demand in Southeast. And finally, for the Vanguard newspaper, government officials prefer to die abroad while health sector decays. This is according to the NLC. Lagos residents lament air pollution, seek stricter law enforcement. Defections, Kaduna now one big political family, says Sani. 15% duty on petroleum products will protect local refineries, attract investors, says Osatui. And finally, NRC confirms Agbo train derailment, says passenger safe. That's just a brief summary of all the stories that had trended over the course of the weekend. We know the most prominent story that has been on the lips of everyone. Analysts have had a really hectic 24 hours trying to bring or shed light on this issue, and thankfully we have Fuad Said here to also help us open that conversation even further with recent development, the most recent being the meeting that is supposed to happen between the President Tinubu and Donald Trump of the United States. Good morning, Fuad Said. How are you today?
Good morning, Sage. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay as I can be. Actually, I'm not doing okay because Fuad, you just say, oh, let me sleep. As a journalist, I'm exhausted. Let me just close my eyes and let me sleep. You wake up and then you see that the U.S. is threatening to come gun blazing. And you just wake up to something and now your mind is racing and you have to read up on history. You have to understand the correlation. You have to understand the build-up to this decision that has been made. We might as well just start the conversation because, right? Oh, forgive my manners for outside. How was your weekend? I'm sorry. I'm just...
I understand, really. Well, it was a restful weekend. Of course, yesterday, I need to apologize to all our listeners who listen to,
and to me for
and to you too particularly, and I've had people who have sent in messages, who have called me asking why Radio Garden was not working, why we're not streaming the show on Facebook, YouTube. Our listeners from all over the world. I have people sending in messages from the UK, from the US, like, oh, that's especially the issue of Trump, to do what we needed to do yesterday. But this is to apologize to those who had waited to listen to us on those platforms.
Well, these things happen, and we're going to do the best we can to make sure there's not too much of a recurrence on that particular matter. All right, thank you for that, Said, and thank you for apologizing to me too. Although I'm waiting so desperately, I really wanted to hear Barrister Curtis because he's somebody whose opinion on things I really look forward to. But I have an opportunity to still listen back, right? And for anybody who wants it, just send a message. You can send it via Instagram, or you could send a message to our WhatsApp number, and I would have it sent to you so that you can listen. I think we can at least try to rectify what had happened yesterday. So let's talk about this. CPC blacklist 12 Nigerian governors. Other officials may face U.S. sanction. Now, 12 northern governors, prominent traditional rulers, and senior judges are at the center of a looming diplomatic storm as the United States Congress considers a bill that could impose far-reaching sanctions on them over Sharia and blasphemy laws. Now, this follows the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern by President Donald Trump and his instructions to the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, to act without delay. Now, Fuad, on Friday, so that we don't just keep going around in circles. On Friday, we had seen Trump's message on about Nigeria's acceptance and implementation of Sharia and blasphemy laws as a catalyst to why we continue to see this Christian genocide, according to them, happening in Nigeria. As expected, the presidency has put out a counter statement that, well, there is no Christ. It is not something that is put in the constitution as a compulsory law. And in fact, only those who meant again is that, well, these laws are oftentimes executed on non-Muslims. And that is why we have some traditional rulers, some governors who might be the ones to receive the heaviest punishment. Because according to the U.S. Senator or Congress largely, these governors, these traditional rulers, have allowed for the implementation of Sharia law on non-Muslims in their states, and they've allowed these things to go unabated. So Fuad, let's talk about this one after the other. First of all, has done it before. Biden removed us from that list, and now he has put us back on there. What will be the consequence for Nigeria as a country now designated as a country of particular concern? There's no argument, again, the second point here, of what a genocide really. There's all killings happening in other parts of the country. Some of these killings are nothing about it. Gaza is an example. Sudan is an example. But all of a sudden, they are interested and they love Nigerian Christians. So, concern, first of all, is this a genocide or a massacre? Because that argument has come up. And this allegation of prejudice and double standard by America. Your thoughts, Fuad?
All right, let's first explain what it means if America designates a country as a country of particular concern to their allies all over the world. To say that, look, this is a country that has got a lot of questions around a particular issue. And here, it's about religious intolerance and, according to the U.S., genocide against Christians. And that's like a step to them being designated as a terrorist state. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying, Sage.
I'm with you.
So once you are designated as a country of particular concern, it is one step into you now being designated as a terrorist state. Especially when it comes to the issue of religious intolerance and the mass killings of people based on their religious faith. That's how diplomacy works. America is America today in terms of the friends and allies that it has been able to put together for itself. It becomes completely useless. Because again, there is no serious investor out there who is going to be reading that your country has been designated a country of particular concern and then take you seriously. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In fact, what would happen is that if the business people come into the country, they're going to be rogue businessmen who will probably be coming here to come and steal your resources or work, under the table to do all manner of things. So that's explaining what it means to be considered. Say that, look, he's not even hiding anything. He didn't stop at just declaring Nigeria a country of particular concern. He said we were once a disgraced country.
Yeah.
Right? I think that was part of the message he put out.
Yes.
I also talked about what they have termed as genocide against Christians in Nigeria. So that's just explaining in practical terms what it means to be designated a country of particular concern. Particularly, I think that is well explained. Now we're going to take this issue, Sage, from about three angles. The first one is to talk about America's interest, Trump as the leader of America today, and then what he has been doing all over the world. And then we come back home to also talk about leadership in Nigeria as it concerns this particular matter. Now, Trump is who Trump is, Sage. I don't think anybody can change that. And for people who continue to say a manner of things, after today, he's still the elected president of the United States of America, who was voted for overwhelmingly by the people of the U.S. I am sure there are things he must have told them for them to decide to vote for him. And I don't think there's anything Trump is doing today that is different from what he promised American people before they voted for him. If you understand, in fact, if you speak to an average American, beyond America alone. So I have seen Nigerians who have been so divided on this matter. The pro-government, we are going to have the largest talk about even protecting Nigerians. And whereas the other people on the other side of the divide are saying, oh, they must, who are supposed to save us, who will give a mandate to save us, are still seeing the same resources. So if America comes and sees resources, so be it. Blah, 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 less emotionally, throw sentiments aside, and ask ourselves some questions. Let's go into a bit of history. The reality is that America is not coming to save everybody. In fact, America has never saved any country. In fact, a lot of times when they intervene in the crisis of countries, they make it worse. In fact, the reality is that they start the crisis and then make it worse for them. And we can go into a bit of history of American interventions in countries and intelligence that they talked about. I think it was under George Bush Jr. Oh, there's enough intelligence. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. He was behind the 9/11 attack. Blah blah. They're talking about American intelligence. It all, in fact, they did it to the point where it was almost like a consensus that look, you needed to take out Saddam Hussein and invade Iraq, and they did. Saddam Hussein was ousted. He was armed by his own people. America said they were going to install their own kind of democracy. They brought in a puppet leader. And what has become of Iraq today? The country descended into crisis. And as we speak, it's about oil. Because again, if you are looking at one of the oil-rich countries in the Middle East, you talk about Iraq. So that's there for Nigerians to consider. Look at. The same thing happened when Gaddafi was going to be ousted. The West sponsored an insurrection. They ousted Gaddafi. But today, Libya has become a gang state, in fact, a pariah state, a lawless state without any government. And when in Syria, the seaside leader was going to be ousted, it was the same West. Although Russia had helped him for some time, but eventually the West came in, they pushed him out now. The armed rebels in the world today, they are Syrians. They are everywhere as refugees suffering because of what the West had done to them in terms of a free meal. America does not go ahead. Now, we are not saying that, look, there are no targeted killings in Nigeria. Sage, I will never sit here to say, look, there have not been targeted killings, especially killings against Christians. But has it gotten to the proportion where it can be termed genocide? That's one question. And then the other question, the killings in Owo, a lot of the killings in the Middle Belt, and the recklessness that we have also seen in parts of the north. I remember when Deborah, the young lady Deborah, was stoned to death on allegations of blasphemy. And a number of Nigerians who have also been killed, and the culpability of the religious leaders in the north for doing nothing about it. I remember that when Deborah was stoned to death, despite all the condemnation, you saw that everything just was arrested or prosecuted. Even Atiku Abubakar, that did a tweet to condemn him, when he was bullied, he deleted the tweet. Right. It don't be wrong for anybody to say there are no targeted killings against Christians. Muslims are not dying. And the problem here, and that's why I took care of it, Christians are being killed, Muslims are being killed, non-believers are being killed. If you understand, I've also targeted Christians. That's what we're saying. But you will see that as they are bombing, they will not come back home. And I think with the issue of Donald Trump, we are in interesting times. At the convention, we've seen him, for example, look at what he's doing on Venezuelan waters. Yeah. And you can see that people are saying that most of the boats that have been bombed, people have been killed, there are really no tangible evidence to show that those boats are carrying cocaine or drugs into the US. But they have been bombed. And that is interested in your UN convention, international training company, all those, Trump has not in any way told you he's interested in those things. Trump is interested in Christians. The bombings of Gaza, I think a lot of people don't know that there are a lot of Christians in Gaza who are Palestinians. So all of the bombings that Israel did in Gaza, killing people in their numbers, well, there is a distinction between Muslims and Christians in the way they are bombing people.
He wouldn't even
so
that
in the United Nations are calling it genocide, but Trump has not for one day admitted that in itself is genocide. But those were documented killings. There's no war something there. Those were documented, consistent bombing of people with reference abandoned. But the man that, as we see, there are still bombing going on in Gaza. And people being killed in their numbers. So for people who are thinking, look, go and check, go and read your history. Look at interventions of the U.S. in countries.
Sudan, there's Afghanistan, there's
a go and check. Then go and check. In countries that they give excuses to go and intervene in their issues, they leave it. And look at Afghanistan.
Yeah.
They said they wanted to put the Taliban out. They armed the militia, they armed people, and at the end of the day, what has happened? The Taliban is back. America left the country. In fact, the people they armed are suffering seriously now. So you see, for people who think, oh, government people, for the pro-government people who are saying, oh, it's neocolonialism, it's Western imperialism, they are coming to steal our resources. Oh, now that they know that we are making progress, we stabilize the country. Oh, they now think that we are doing more business with us. We have told, you see, let us just accept that yes, there's neocolonialism, and that we have what you call Western imperialism as we speak. They are not going to leave us. Never. They are not going to leave us. But this is the question, Sage. So those government people now who are saying, oh, it's imperialism, neocolonialism. So they think it happens in isolation. Okay, what do they think they are doing all over the world? Was it not here, Sage, that we said that, look, most of these things World Bank IMF are prescribing as reforms to the Nigerian government, it is to also ensure that Western imperialism is sustained. And how? I'll explain now, Sage. You know, we said it here, that look, they will tell you, remove subsidy, remove this. They will encourage countries because they know the consequences. So when they do that, they tell you, remove subsidy, it's not sustainable. Devalue your currency. Energy. No, take it off. You can't continue to subsidize for your people. It's not sustainable. And while you are doing that, they tell your government, if you can do these reforms, if you can do these policies, we'll give you money. We keep borrowing you money. In fact, as we speak, by December, the World Bank will they give these loans for vague things, intangible things. But they will still tell you the people are suffering. But continue, the policies are working. And as you are doing that, they know that with more poverty in the land comes more insecurity. So say they want to come and help you and intervene. And then they throw your country into crisis. And as you are being in crisis, happening all over Africa, what do you think is happening in Sudan? What do you think is happening in Sudan? What do you think is happening in DR Congo? Be careful to accept the prescriptions of the Bretton Woods Organization. These are neo-colonialistic structures. They know what they are doing. And look at where we are. The second part is the culpability of a Nigerian government to solve the issue of insecurity. We have been busy playing politics. It is about politics, and we have delegated governance. And I was telling a few friends yesterday, Sage, this transactional politics we play in Nigeria. You know the transactional politics we play in Nigeria? In Kotowa, kind of politics. That is only for the few people, the few political class and their cronies. There's no way it mixes properly with good governance. You can't continue to play transactional politics. Everybody defecting from one party, no focus, no ideology, the relegated governance. It's about politicians and their own personal interest. It's not what I want to look at ourselves and blame ourselves for having this level of terrible governance. People, we have failed ourselves, and our leadership has continued to fail us. So Trump can do whatever he wants to do. We have allowed it.
Nation should have the audacity to threaten to come in gun blazing.
Not with Trump, not with Trump.
Country. We have Huriwa, for example, who thinks that, well, we're at the point where we cannot rely on the government, and if it's going to take a Donald Trump to come in and wipe out these terrorists, we might as well resign to that fate.
And we're going to tell Huriwa to know that, look, they should go and check the interventions. What we have now is almost like a guerrilla warfare, right? So even when they come with their fighter jets, what are we going to do? Keep bombing places? Where are they going to bomb? We have sleeper cells. We have people who are already living among people. It's not like, oh, they are going to have boots on ground, which I doubt. The other thing they will do is to begin to arm.
We're already dealing with proliferation of small arms. That would just be an exacerbation of the entire situation. Plus,
and God forbid that we be sent into another civil war. This is a very serious matter. Hey, come on now. Leave all this useless politicking, all this all this nonsense that they've been doing in the name of politicking. Can you see
Trump or JD Vance? Because the new report says he might be meeting with JD Vance, but he's going to have a sit down with the United States president and see how we can reach a resolution on this particular around Sharia and blasphemy law in Nigeria, the complicity of traditional rulers, and seen as our government has not really been able to get a handle.
Look at the issue of state police. Where are we on it? For example,
they will figure it out. They will figure it out.
It's so you see. A simple matter, okay, state police will give help with our security situation. That's all the program of insecurity. That is what leadership issues. It's messing us up.
Right. This is still trends in the papers on mainland 98.3 FM. We apologize that we're spending the bulk of the time on this issue. It is a national, if not international issue. The entire world is talking about Nigeria right now, and we need you to understand what the facts are. We need to understand what the facts are so that for your opinions to be formed, you at least have all the details, all the information, and all the facts that is required for an informed opinion on the matter. Let's talk about the PDP. That's another trending conversation. PDP crisis. Mackin, former governor Samuel Ortom and Ayo Fayose has thrown their weight behind the Nyesom Wike-led faction of the party's National Working Committee. Let's get to the major issue here. We have Wike supporter who is accusing Damagom-led leadership of bias and incompetence. It became worse for on Saturday when the Damagom-led National Working Committee announced the suspension of National Organizing Secretary Umar Bature for alleged anti-party activity. In a swift response, the rival faction, the one led by Ja and others for alleged financial misconduct and incompetence. Mind you, the court, what's the justice's name now? Yes, he had I wouldn't say suspended the national convention, but he gave them certain terms that until if you're able to fulfill these terms, you might as well go on with your convention. But if not, you're halting the convention until you can solve these particular internal crises that you're dealing with. What suspension, counter suspension, the halt or suspension of their national convention. There's the Wike factor, and the fact that we now have PDP. What?
They deserve a round of applause. They tried. Oh yeah, wonderful people. You know, because honestly, as I read the story on Sunday, what came to mind is let us just count for wonderful people. Because you know what, we keep saying these things. Can predict that these things are going to happen. Now, the convention is not going to hold because if they decide to go ahead with the convention, they'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
They will be in trouble. When and somehow they're going to get a ruling that will stop the convention. And it has happened to them. That look, I'm still the master of the game. Master of the game in destabilizing the party. You can see that he has, and I like the fact that he's not even hiding where he stands on this issue. He has told them, you can call yourself governors of the party, but forget it all. I am still in charge. If you take decision without me and without accommodating my interest, it's not even about these governors now. Because the reality is that even the governors who are in the PDP today, we are not even sure that by tomorrow morning they will not be leaving the party for the APC. Maybe as they speak today, most likely the leader of Bayelsa, yes, that is now
going to be. For interfering with your three and four, but I don't understand this stance of altruism that these governors posit anytime they defect. Like, I'm doing this for the good of the state. I want to be closer to the center so I can bring development. So you're telling us that if you're not with the ruling party, you don't. I don't know how to fathom the.
No, they don't do one now. They think we are stupid. Being good governor. To the state.
You could be a member of both party. The constitution allows that you're taken care of. If you like, be a member of that.
All the governors in the APC, what amount of good governance are they giving to their people? So they don't wait. You see, the political class is overfed to the point where their brains see us as dummies. You know when you are overfed, they don't regard us, so they come and throw these things on our faces. So I'm not surprised that they continue to deflect on personal grounds for their own personal benefit. And they then come and say it's for the interest of the people. Which people? Which people? So, so the reality is the PDP. And that was why I was asking by Tʀᴇ Ilᴅs Co. 2 weeks ago, that what exactly can the PDP do to make Wike happy? Sage. Because what it is, peace in the PDP will be dependent on making Wike happy. And making Wike happy would mean that they have to accommodate and entrench in the party Wike's interest. So let me ask you a very simple question, say, what do you think is Wike's interest politically today?
But at this point, I don't know. Maybe you should tell us.
I say you don't know. What is the interest of Wike? And yesterday we said it. I think the only thing that can make Wike happy now is number one, the PDP should not present a candidate in 2027.
Because he can't be president.
Let the president just have a seat. In fact, nobody should contest against him in the party. And then number two, let the leadership of the party still be in the hands of Wike, who has shown loyalty and allegiance to the APC and the president. Look at what you have in Rivers State now. The local governments are dominated by APC, which he orchestrated. So I think what Wike would have wanted, or what he wants now, and I don't know how the PDP will be able to accommodate that, is to have a situation where the PDP does not present a candidate, and if they will present a candidate, maybe it should be a Wike, for example. It's just the there. But because at the end of the day, the PDP has lost it completely. There's no hope of revival. How are they going to survive this now? I will advise them not even try to allow their cases to go to court. There's something about court judgment when it comes to PDP matter. Yeah. It's a discussion for another day. See?
Yes, because
it's a conversation for another day.
The court will ask that you cannot suspend a particular individual. Why? The court will stop your convention.
And then there are, and we fear. We are weakening our institutions. We are corrupting our institutions. The judiciary now, anytime there's a court judgment on political matters, we look at it with one eye. So to allocate political matters that concern PDP to one particular judge every time.
Yeah.
And anytime the case is allocated to him, the judgment is predictable. If any PDP matter, go and check. Let me go and check the record. So we can continue to bastardize the democracy. But the effects are already being seen, even with what Trump is telling us, that if you cannot tidy your back end, we have to come in to help you do it. And coming to do it will mean they will destabilize us the more. Let's not deceive ourselves.
Well, I did see an interview yesterday. I can't remember the designation of the man. Is assigned to a particular judge. The judgment is always somewhat predictable.
Now it's also predictable.
So that was I did see that. I'm not saying on PDP's issue, God should have mercy on us and accept our praises. But I hope that they're able to resolve their internal crisis, because honestly, it's now a big conversation on the future of opposition in Nigeria. Is opposition comatose going on? And then there's the PDP. They are just, I don't know what is happening with them. But this is still trends in the papers. We're rounding off the conversation. Let's look at The Guardian very briefly. Resident doctors, federal government clash over 48 billion arrears as strike paralyzes hospitals nationwide. The riders says payment covers only 2 of 19 pending demands. Seek public support. Strike cripples National Hospital, FMC, Jabi. Fuad, the doctors are still insisting that they will maintain the
resident doctors.
Yeah, the resident doctors. A little bit of resolution has been reached, but they're saying the federal government has only attended to 2 out of 19 issues that have been highlighted, and so they're paying the backlog of monies that have been owed to them. Obviously, hospital infrastructure or infrastructure in the health sector generally, amongst other things, is addressed. They will not offer their services. Unfortunately, Fuad, patients are the one who are bearing the brunt of this industrial action.
For Nigerians. Because our politicians will use this facility. That's what it is. Them and their family members, that they do the right things. And this is not to come here and begin to blame resident doctors. Saying if you go into our public hospitals and see the conditions in which these doctors are doing their job, you pity them. Long shifts. That's why you see a lot of cases of misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
These guys are tired.
And doctors dying. You know, it was a trend one time.
Fatigue, physical fatigue. And that's why they are running out of the country. They are running in droves. If you go to some of them and see the crowd that these doctors have to attend to on a daily basis. And on top of that, you owe them salaries, you owe them allowances, they are fully remunerated. Whereas the guys who are busy doing nothing, they're fussing around. This is where I say they are busy doing nothing. They are actually busy doing nothing from up top to bottom. Busy fussing around, meeting, and they go see results. All motion without movement.
Well, for that is the situation at this time. Just very briefly, we cannot take any more analysis, but for the sake of conversation, let's look at these headlines. Cooking gas price defy marketers, sells at 1,200 per kg. We have urban crime with the robbery in Victoria Island, where a foreman to defect to the...
He's the one pushing himself. He said people are pushing him to defect to the APC.
But let's go.
He's the one pushing himself. Who is pushing him? He now wants to defect. You don't.
It's not everything that you see. Just take it out.
Who is pushing him? Who is pushing him?
Don't worry.
No. They are pushing him to defect to the APC.
That's all for mainland focus. I'm Sage Babalola. Please don't go anywhere.